I'm Leonard Riggs, and this is my podcast from my head to your ears. And today I'm going to talk about the biggest event to happen to my area and several areas along a path in the United States, the total eclipse of 2024, which was April 8th, 2024. And I got to experience it firsthand where I live here in Southern Illinois. We had totality, and it was quite an interesting day. A lot of visitors to our area, and I work in a C-store, so I had a lot of business for that day. And I'm going to take a break, and we'll discuss the eclipse of April 8th, 2024. I'm Leonard Riggs. This is my podcast from my head to your ears. I'm Leonard Riggs, and this is my podcast from my head to your ears. And today I'm talking about the eclipse of 2024, April 8th, 2024. Now, we had a eclipse back in August of 2017, but it wasn't a total eclipse. This was a total eclipse, and we were right in the path here in Southern Illinois to have a perfect view of the totality of the eclipse. And a lot of visitors came to our area, and we need it around here. Our economy is kind of awful, but there were some negative things about it, and I'm going to get that out of the way first. A lot of hotels were charging outrageous rates for the eclipse, and I thought that was kind of crappy and unnecessary. I understand we got to make a living around here, but I mean, they went out of the world with their rates, like $500 a room or so. I was hearing in several of our local hotels in towns that are like 40 miles away. I thought that was just absolutely ridiculous. Shame on you. That's gouging. And I work in a C-store, and if we sell gas at an outrageous price, and that's called gouging, and it's illegal, and you get in trouble, I think hotels should have the same standards. I think any business should have the same standards. To charge outrageous prices, that's just, I don't know. Is it good business? It's a way to make a lot of money because people are going to pay it, but I don't think it's good business. Just my opinion. And I wanted to get that out of the way. And truthfully, that was probably the only negative thing about the eclipse that I can think of. We certainly were busy at my store. I work on a corner of two highways. And the weekend leading up to the event, I had some rude people, and it wasn't the most positive experience. But the day of the eclipse, everybody was friendly. Of course, everybody wanted to use our restrooms and needed directions, and the eclipse glasses were in high demand and hard to find by the last minute people. And that became kind of annoying. People asking me where they could find glasses, but that's just me. And I was like, I don't know where I'm supposed to find them. We sold out of ours the Friday before the Monday of the eclipse. So, yeah, if you waited last minute, you were kind of out of luck. You couldn't get the eclipse glasses anywhere then. But there were some really nice people who had extras for whatever reason, and they were giving them away and in our parking lot. It was nice. People were really, really nice the day of the eclipse. I enjoyed talking to people that were traveling. I love to talk to people, and I love to find out their stories. And yeah, I'm a talker big time. That's why I have a podcast. But there's a part of me that's like, I don't like hype. And there's another part of me that loves science, and most certainly didn't want to miss it, and I didn't want anybody in my family to miss it. So I worried about my sister, who watches my mom, getting to see it, because I had to work. I actually got off at 2 p.m. and that is when the totality of the eclipse hit. So my sister was watching my mom, and I worried she wouldn't get to see it. But as it turned out, my brother-in-law came over, and they sat outside close to my mom where they could see her, and had Subway sandwiches and watched the eclipse. They had a good time. So I was happy about that. I got to watch it at work. It died off completely, and just like it did in 2017. And we sat out there. I took some video, and just the exact copy of 2017. But it's kind of funny. It was just me and my boss that remained. Well, one of my coworkers was still there, but she wasn't there. She got to go home at 1. But we got to see that eclipse and again, and it was pretty fascinating, actually. I wished I had a high-powered camera that I could have got pictures of it, but people did get good pictures of the eclipse, and I think that's great. Excuse me. The traffic after, when that let out, just like 2017, was of the like that people in Southern Illinois aren't used to. There was traffic jams. Actually, there was traffic jams on the highway going in before the event. It was at a standstill. I mean, I don't know the numbers of how many people were here in our area, but it was a lot more than we're used to. And it was kind of funny. People were just pulling over wherever at that point. I live in a rural area. I am from Southern Illinois. That's the way we talk here. Rural. But I live in a rural area where my house is, and there's a little dirt road, almost. Not really a dirt road, but it's a little rough road that a lot of people take when there's a lot of locals take. And they were camping out along that little road, which was kind of funny, I thought. So people were just setting up shop there wherever they could find a place. And that's the cool thing about living in the country. You can pretty well do that. And our parking lot was just the perfect place to look at the eclipse. So right here in our own backyard, we saw the eclipse. I just think that is totally amazing. Not much happens in our sleepy little town here. And I think that was pretty exciting. I'm going to take a break, and I'll be back and talk more about the total eclipse of 2024, April 8th, 2024 to be exact. I'm Leonard Riggs. This is my podcast, From My Head to Your Ears. I'm Leonard Riggs, and this is my podcast, From My Head to Your Ears, and I'm talking about the solar eclipse of April 8th, 2024, and my area was a prime viewing place to watch it, so we had a lot of visitors. The next eclipse that will be visible in Illinois won't happen till September 14th, 2029. So, I don't think that's going to be even visible in our area. So that's kind of sad. I won't be around, more than likely, since, I'll be well over 100 years old by then. Unless, I may still be at my store and can't get the day off. I don't know. I joke. I kid. It happens. Yeah, I can't die. I can't get the day off. So, we're shorthanded. it was kind of funny because there was all these horror stories going around about what's going to happen in the eclipse, the coming of Jesus, and the four horsemen of the apocalypse are going to come out of the ground, and the locusts are going to come out of the ground, and they're going to the viewers that came to our are just strip our products bare in our stores, and you better shop, you better get your gas, and all the negativity, all the rumors and craziness, and it's the end of the world, all that stuff. I had this well, it really wasn't a theory. I was jesting, but I was like, yeah, what's going to happen is when the eclipse happens, we're going to revert back to 2017, and we have to relive the last 7 years all over again. Wouldn't that be terrible? I tell you what, between the eclipses from 2017 to 2024, we experienced a lot of crap. It just amazes me, and it got me to thinking, we had COVID and race riots and the negative of the elections, and oh my gosh, it was just a really crappy last 7 years, wasn't it? Who would want to relive that? That would be, unless you could kind of relive it and do everything correctly. I don't know what we'd do to correct what happened, because it just kind of happened, but who would have thought we would have had a disease that we were all pretty well told to stay home and wear masks, and that was the worst. The COVID thing was the worst thing ever, I thought, to happen to our country. I never want to go through that ever again. Ever. Wearing those masks was the worst. And the disease itself, although it didn't kill everybody, it killed a lot of people. I lost a few people that I knew from COVID. But, and then the controversy surrounding the inoculations and the elections and the political division and, like I said, the whole race rioting and just who would have thought our country would have been in such turmoil? And I don't know that it's over yet. I'm scared it's going to all fire up again. But at least the eclipse brought us together. That's another thing I thought of positive. Everybody wanted to watch the eclipse, of all ages and races and everything. It was just a cool thing, and anything that brings people together is a wonderful thing. So you have to look at the positive sides of everything. And we didn't die. It was just another occurrence, another marvelous thing to watch that we don't get very often. So I hope everybody enjoyed watching the eclipse, and a lot of people had parties, and I saw where a man, a teacher, he was a young teacher back in, I think it was the 1970s, and he promised his students he'd have a watch party for this eclipse in his backyard, and he invited them back in the 70s to come to his watch party. And as it turned out, 100 people showed up for his watch party, a lot of former students and their families, and they all brought lawn chairs, and it was a good time. I don't know where that was, but I thought that was a great story. Just stuff like that, that just wonderful things that brought everybody together. We had a controversy here in Southern Illinois because several of the Eclipse classes were defective, and they were recalled. So I don't know how many were distributed in our area, but there was quite a few. And I think that's what created a lot of the demand the last minute demand. People had to go scramble and find glasses. And I know of a friend of mine who ordered glasses for his event and back in February, and they didn't fill his order. And he was last minute scrambling for my cat Isaac. Just I've always got one or more of my cats with me when I'm recording, and sometimes they behave and sometimes they don't. And Isaac just thought he'd get a little playful just then. Of course, he ran off. Love my kitty cats. But I thought that was just terrible, those glasses being recalled, and a lot of that was last minute. I don't know of too many more disasters that happened to the Eclipse, but that was just another one of the negative sides. I also heard where people were throwing out people. We have a lot of workers that come to our area to work to lay wire or whatever, and they set them up in hotels, and I know of at least one that after work went to his hotel room and his stuff was thrown in a corner because they needed the room, so they threw him out for the Eclipse. That's an absolute true story, by the way. I just think, like I said, the way the hotels acted around here is the biggest negative side of this whole Eclipse. I think they should be in trouble for gouging. Again, I'm just saying, the rates around here were absolutely ridiculous. I think if people had it to do over again, the best way would have been to camp out or to bring tents and just kind of rough it for a couple of days. Or, if you don't live too far away, just drive in and drive out. Of course, the traffic, like I said, the traffic was incredible after it let out. It wasn't so bad going into it other than the highway. But where I live, there wasn't a lot of traffic that day. But we did have a lot of people coming through to see the Eclipse. So I think I'm repeating myself. But other than that, I think it went really well. So I'm going to take a break, and I'll be right back with more about the Eclipse of 2024, April 8th, 2024. I'm Leonard Riggs. This is my podcast from my head to your ears. I'm Leonard Riggs, and this is my podcast from my head to your ears. And I was kind of looking over the numbers concerning the Eclipse. And according to one source, I believe it's CBS, Southern Illinois played host to around 200,000 people. That's pretty amazing. How many people watched the Eclipse? 32 million people across the country saw the Eclipse in its full splendor. And that was from CNN. So yeah, that was some pretty good numbers there. Of course, there's no way they could possibly tell if that was an exact amount, because there were people just on back roads and at relatives' houses, and we had Wren Lake, which I don't think Wren Lake was incredibly busy, but I know at the marina in Wren Lake they had a party and they had a lot of people. So yeah, I think it brought a lot of money to our area. I know it did to my store, and I'm thankful for that, because like I said, our economy can use every boost it can get. That was the most exciting thing that happened to Southern Illinois in a long time. So I think the biggest draw for our area now is the DuQuoin State Fair, which brings in a lot of people. Not as much as it used to. And we used to have the Street Machine Nationals which back in the 90s and 80s was a huge draw. And that was business like we never saw. I mean, that was really a lot more business to my particular store in my area. But this was Southern Illinois in totality. Trying to do a play on words there. See what I did there? For the Eclipse. So yeah, our economy really benefited from that Eclipse. So win, win, win. And although if I heard one more time where are your restrooms, I was going to scream. That and the glasses shortage thing, I'm not going to lie, our phone rang off the wall. Wanting glasses. But I find the humor in all that, not at the time, but I too later. But not very often does anything interesting happen around here. So, yeah, I think I really, all in all, it's going to be a good memory and something we'll talk about for a while here in Southern Illinois. So I'm going to take a break and I'm going to wrap this up. And I'm Leonard Riggs, and this is my podcast from my head to your ears. I'm Leonard Riggs, and this is my podcast from my head to your ears, and I've been talking about the eclipse of April 8th, 2024, and I'm wrapping this up. All in all, I think it went really well. We had a beautiful day. The weather was perfect. There was concern that the weather was going to be cloudy, but as it turned out, it was sunny, and our temperatures were in the upper 70s. Now, the eclipse of 2017 was in August, and it was extremely hot. And when that traffic let out, honestly, and that was the first time we didn't know what was going to happen on that one. So when the traffic let out and everybody came out all at once, and our poor policemen were out there directing traffic in the heat, that was a nightmare. But this time we kind of knew what to expect. Business-wise and traffic-wise, we knew that was going to happen, so we were a little more prepared. So the eclipse of 2017 prepared us for this bigger one of 2024. So I think, yeah, all in all, the weather made it. Had the weather not cooperated, it would have just been a disaster. But it cooperated in full force. And it's kind of funny, we've had rainy days since. We had a really rainy day yesterday. But I think we're going to be talking about this eclipse for many years to come. I think a lot of children will always remember this. And like I said, it won't happen in our area again for many, many years to come. So something I was telling my boss's teenage granddaughter that she will be able to tell her grandchildren about this. So, yeah, it went really well, and it was a little excitement for our area. And we certainly could use some positivity around here, and that certainly was. I realized I'm getting a little too long of a tooth for major events, so because it wore me the heck out. I've been off for 2 days. I worked the day after the eclipse, and I was exhausted, and I have had the last 2 days off, and I spent yesterday just napping a lot. It was rainy, and luckily my mom slept a lot. My cat slept. It was just kind of a lazy day, and I needed that. So I'm ready to go back to work tomorrow. But anyway, I don't know what major events are coming now, but I don't think there's anything for a while. Who knows? But anyway, I'm Leonard Riggs. I'm going to wrap this up, and this is my podcast. From my head to your ears, like I said, thank you for listening. I love to hear compliments. I don't like criticism at all. Don't tell me nothing bad about my podcast. I want to hear it, but I do love to hear good things. No, I'm really serious about that. Don't tell me anything bad about my podcast. It's like insulting someone's children. No, I'm kind of joking. A little bit. But yeah, I am Leonard Riggs. I'm talking and I can't shut up. No, I'm Leonard Riggs. This is my podcast. From my head to your ears. And thank you for listening. And I'm going to go get some lunch because it's lunchtime and my cats are hungry. So I must leave you to go feed the kitty cats. The lions are hungry. Thank you. And until next time, Avita Zane.